It is time for the one and only, the premier, the only official podcast of Pro Rodeo. Your Chute Bosses are ready, so let's give it a go and talk some rodeo.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into another episode of the Chute Bosses, the official podcast of Pro Rodeo. It's Tanner Barth and Tracy Rink. Had a little bit of a throat cold, I guess you could say, Tracy, but we're here bringing another great show to our fans here of Pro Rodeo.
Yeah, well, you're a smoker, Tanner. That's what happens.
I've never smoked in my life. Don't let him start that rumor. Don't let him start that rumor. As we get ready to go here on episode 19 of season 2, Tracy, we're going to get down and sit down with the 2023 PRCA World Champion tie-down roper Riley Webb. We caught up with him in Las Vegas, and just a cool kid and a kid that's had to battle a lot of hype his entire life, and he comes out and gets the job done last season.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a phenom. He almost won the American at 17 years old. Everybody knew how good he was, but he had to translate that into results. And I've said this numerous times. The coolest thing about what Riley did last year is Haven Medges put a ton of pressure on him. And, I mean, a lot of better men might have wilted under the pressure. I mean, because he was one or two bad rounds away from losing the world title because Haven was roping so well. But Riley just kept on course, kept doing what he had to do, and won that world championship. And I mean, he's obviously 20 years old. He's got chances to win multiple world titles. But just a great roper, great person, and it was great to touch base with him in Vegas.
Yeah, so we'll sit down and chat with him at the back end of the show. But as we always do, let's kick things off with our Pro Rodeo props. And Tracy, this one's a little different than what we usually do. It's usually somebody doing something good or things happening in Pro Rodeo. But I just want to give a shout out to all the Pro Rodeo cowboys and cowgirls that are about to put their life on hold for the next 3 months.
Yep.
I mean, chasing this from June till September, trying to make the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo. Cowboy Christmas coming up, the summer run. It's something that rodeo fans get a chance to go out and appreciate because they get to watch all these great athletes. But it's tough work, man. They're about to put on some miles on whether it's through the air or on the ground.
This is where the grind starts. And we have 790 events in the PRCA last year in 2023. I'm guessing, and I didn't calculate it, I'm guessing probably 300 to 400 of those are in the summer.
At least, yeah.
I mean, and it's just jam-packed. I mean, they have to rodeo counts and everything else, but you're blowing and going, as they say. Like, you're town to town and going different places, but this is the life you chose to live, and this is what you have to do if you want to make the NFR.
And speaking of that, getting ready to premiere here on the PRCA's YouTube page. You can also check it out on ProRodeo.com. We have the Highwaymen. We sat down with Alex Dodd this past week and talked a little bit about that series. We got a great 10.5-minute kind of mini documentary coming out of following Buddy Hawkins II, JC Aquo. So that's going to be coming out. So make sure you check that out. Kind of leads right into what the craziness begins for some of these guys. Just a couple of days to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's on the lower level. I mean, these guys went to 3 states in 4 days and driving around, and I mean, Cowboy Christmas. I mean, I was just talking to some bull riders. They were driving in Greeley, and then they got to make the all-nighter to go back to Reno. And that's just part of it. I mean, you're going back and forth and draws and everything else. The thing is you got to have traveling partners you can trust and people who like to drive. Because most of those guys are driving, even the rough stock guys, because you can fly to a few events, but it gets really expensive to fly to a lot of events. So, I mean, you would seem like you're almost confused, like, where am I? Because what city am I in? But like I said, these guys, most of them are young, and it's just part of the lifestyle they chose to live.
Yeah, you wake up, you're in a different state.
Different city, different state.
Who's driving my pickup?
Yeah, who's sleeping, who's not sleeping. It's just crazy times.
It is, and it's going to be a crazy next couple of weeks in Pro Rodeo. We'll have all the coverage for you on ProRodeo.com. Let's get into our short round segment, something we led off with last week, Tracy. Pikes Peak or Bust Rodeo and the PRCA right here in Colorado Springs signed a 7-year extension. I guess what we call the NFR Open, formerly known as the Dodge National Circuit Finals Rodeo, has a home, and it's staying here in Colorado Springs for a couple more years.
Yeah, and the most important part I see about that, outside of the economic impact of Colorado Springs and what it means to the PRCA, is Colorado Springs is the PRCA's home.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to have a huge national event. I mean, Penrose Arena, the event center, is only 15 minutes from our headquarters. So, I mean, it makes sense to have a big event like that for 7 years moving forward through 2031, because now it ties into what we do. It's local, the economy, and there's just so many beneficial things to what we can do. And it's nothing. I mean, before it was in Pocatello and Kissimmee and made a stop in Greeley during COVID, and it's nothing against those sites. It just, to me, it just makes sense that Carter Springs is home to the PRCA. Now we're home to a national event for a long time.
Yeah, and we just keep adding perfs because the demand is so high for people that want to go out and watch these top athletes from, the U.S., Mexico, and Canada come here.
Seven performances in 5 days, and they're expected to all sell out. Mm-hmm. And for the Ram National Circuit Finals Rodeo, when it was called that, the biggest problem they had was getting crowds once it left Pocatello. Pocatello drew really well, but since Pocatello it didn't do as well. And now, I mean, sellout crowds, 7 performances, a lot of NFR guys, a lot of up and comers. I mean, it's a great event. I mean, and the biggest, coolest thing is what it pays. Mm-hmm. I mean, not only do you get young and up and comers and all the circuit champion guys, is you have a chance to win $25,000-$30,000 in July.
Yeah, and a lot of guys that have had success after that, go on to make the regular National Finals Rodeo. So, and one of those guys that's had success here in Colorado Springs, but we haven't seen him for the past, 6+ months now, is Stetson Wright. That's one of those guys, the 8-time PRCA world champion. We think he's nearing a return, We're not going to be able to put a timetable on that. I know he told us in Las Vegas, maybe a couple of weeks, but, ultimately it's going to come down to when Stetson's ready to get on, when his body feels right. And when he thinks, how long before when I can still make this NFR this year, but it looks like Stetson's nearing a return.
Yeah, I would think it would be sometime during Cowboy Christmas if you think you're healthy enough.
Or towards the back end.
Yeah, because there's so many rodeos going on right now. I mean, you could, and I know, we don't like to advertise, but you could pick your draws. You could find better bulls you think might be the first bull you get on. I would be shocked if he doesn't go to the Calgary Stampede because it pays so well, and if you win that, you're right in the
$50,000 in both events,
right?
maybe.
And you're right in the mix to make the NFR in both events if somehow you won both. He hasn't had a lot of luck in his career in the Calgary Stampede, but bull riding's bull riding. It's who knows, and he's Stetson Wright, so he could win it at any time. So, but like you say, it's got to be, am I healthy enough to do it?
Because he's still young. We talked about that.
Every time we say this, it's, he's missing. He's 24 years old. I mean, he's got his whole career in front of him.
He's already won 8 titles.
He's already a Hall of Famer. Yeah. He's already a first ballot Hall of Famer whenever whoever sends in his resume to be considered for the Hall of Fame. He's like Casey Field this year. So it's not even that. And you don't want him to waste himself, so to speak, trying to rush back to get hurt again. And like Tim O'Connell, and Tim,
unfortunately,
his first jump out, he'd been out since January. He'd been hurt since the NFR. He goes out in March, and first jump out, he re-tears his hamstring. And I mean, Tim's was bad luck, and he'd be the first to admit it was bad luck. But that's the last thing you want to see Stetson do, is have something go wrong, and then he's out another 6 months. So I'm eager to see when he comes back. And in the bull riding, with ground money, he could make the NFR, because look what he did last September. Saddle bronc is a little different question because it's so competitive and the money's not there, so to speak, because there's no ground money. Not that he couldn't get on a heater, not that he couldn't win, multiple rodeos. It's just to be a little tougher road that way.
Yeah, I know you mentioned Stetson's hamstring. Tim O'Connell, you mentioned his groin just kind of falls apart there at the first jump. So it's something you got to be super careful with, especially, Stetson, who has,
And I would think the saddle bronc would be harder for him.
Especially on that hammy,
The hammy. I mean, the bull riding is more muscle memory, I would think. And, I mean, bull riding's bull riding. You can hurt doing anything, bull riding. Yeah. But I think the saddle bronc would be, and maybe that's his thing. Maybe when he comes back, he wants to come back in both. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe he just doesn't want to come back in bulls. Who knows? But, I mean, we want him back. He's Stetson Wright. So, obviously, that'll be up to him.
Yeah, and his good buddy Kai Hamilton, we expect to see him. Saw some videos from Bucktown, him starting to get on bulls. So, Kai, is eyeing what he told us in Las Vegas, the Calgary Stampede. So,
and that starts the 5th of July. So, that's next Friday. Yeah, it's a week from this Friday. So, and depending on when he's up. So, I mean, I imagine when this is all going to start going. And the good thing about the bull riders is if they feel healthy, and even saddle bronc, because he doesn't have the rodeo count, they can go to 125 rodeos. I mean, you can go wherever you want to go.
Run yourself in the ground trying to get there.
If that's what you want to do, the opportunity's there. You could fly, you could drive, you could go wherever you want. And you could. That's what I'm saying. Those two guys could make it in bull riding. If you go to 100 rodeos in 3 months, you could make it because they could go to a smaller rodeo, like they mentioned in their interviews with us. They won like 6,000 and 7,000 at smaller rodeos. I think it was in Utah they were mentioning. You start going to those with ground money, yeah, they could make up the difference. It's just how much travel do I want to do? How healthy are both of them?
Yep, absolutely. We'll make sure to keep an eye on that as we get further on into July here. Another thing on our short round, Tracy, the ProRodeo Hall of Fame and the PRCA are announcing that they are going to be having a special screening of the documentary called Lane. You know, it's Lane, Life, Legend, Legacy. The documentary is really going to focus on Lane Frost's faith, you know, various challenges he faced throughout his career, and, you know, why we're at a point right now where 35 years down the line, he's still one of the most recognizable figures in all of Western culture.
Yeah, I mean, and it blew up, so to speak, with 8 Seconds, the movie.
It did.
But we had Tuff Hedeman on our podcast before, and I've spoke to Clyde and Elsie, the parents of Lane, and they weren't anti 8 Seconds by any stretch, but it didn't really tell the true story. And this is what this documentary is supposed to tell, this movie. And Tuff even, you know, quoted in there, like, this is the real thing. This is the real story. And that's the story you want to know. I mean, 8 Seconds was great for rodeo, but it had a lot of Hollywood in it. This would be the true story of what happened. So it'll be great to see. I mean, it's in an action-packed week. The NFR Opens that week, the Hall of Fame inductions that day, and then they're having the movie that night at the ProRodeo Hall of Fame here in Colorado Springs on July 13th. So I'm interested to see it. I mean,
me too.
I've done so much historical stuff with Tuff Hedeman and Lane, and I mean, you know, it seems like the further you get away from stuff, the more legendary you are sometimes. But I don't think that's the case with Lane Frost. It sounded like, and I never obviously got the chance to meet him, but he sounded like he was just a wonderful guy. Obviously had an unfortunate, tragic incident in bull riding, but you don't live that legendary life and as popular as you are if you didn't affect a lot of people in a positive way when you were on this earth.
Yeah, and he still continues to have that impact through the Lane Frost brand. And, you know, every bull rider still wants to grow up and, you know, have a little bit of their career look like Lane Frost. So make sure you check that out. Tracy said it's going to be Saturday night, July 13th. Tickets are on sale, ProRodeoHallOfFame.com. You can check all that out and get those tickets reserved. Leads us right into our 8-question segment, Tracy, and this time we're sitting down with another young gun. We caught up with a lot of guys up at the College National Finals Rodeo. We're going to sit down with saddle bronc rider Ira Dickinson, and Ira's one of those guys that has won a lot of money in pro rodeo. He's still on his permit, though. You know, not in those rookie standings, but he's one to keep an eye on for sure. Yeah,
he's at Tarleton State. I believe he took second at College National Finals Rodeo, which is a huge accomplishment. I mean, he's an up-and-comer. He'll be there. I mean, it just matter when and some of those guys wait
till they're out of college.
Wait till they're out of college because they want to devote their full time to rodeo. Because we know how hard it is to try to. I mean, we see it from every guys we interview to try to be in college and try to rodeo full time. It gets really hard in the winter if you're trying to hit big winter rodeos. In the summer, not so much because they're out of school. But it's a lot to ask of those guys. And some of those guys, and they've said it to us, you only have one chance to be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
So you don't want to blow your chance to be Rookie of the Year.
You want to be able to go as much as you want.
Yeah, you don't want to go 20 rodeos and lose your rookie chance just because you got anxious. And a lot of them try to feel that way out. So Ira's one of those guys, and I'm sure he'll be in the mix next year. I'm imagining he'd buy his card. I mean, that would depend on him, but he's definitely going to be in the mix.
No doubt about it. Here's your 8-question segment with Ira Dickinson.
What's your favorite movie?
McClintock with John Wayne.
Favorite restaurant?
We'll go with Applebee's.
What would you name a bronc?
Something with like a lunatic or something like that.
What's your favorite bronc in the PRCA you've ridden?
Lunatic from Howell just passed away.
What's your favorite hobby outside of rodeo?
Being a cowboy. Racing cows.
Can you describe bronc riding in one word?
Awesome. Great feeling.
What's your favorite ice cream?
I don't eat ice cream.
No Bluebell? And last, what's the best hype song to listen to before a rodeo?
Probably something either metallic. I'm a big metallic guy, so yeah, something metallic.
And Tracy, you can just tell those college kids, man, they have a ton of fun. We know what it's like. We were there, and he gives some good answers as well.
Yeah, I mean, and it's got to be a great feeling to be up in Casper at the College National Finals Rodeo. I mean, it's their event. It's
like their NFR.
Yeah, their Super Bowl, so to speak, and then obviously he took second. But, yeah, I mean, and Casper welcomes him there, and it's all part of the preparation to get to the next level to be one of the best in the PRCA.
No doubt about it. So we appreciate Ira sitting down and chatting with us. That's going to do it for our first segment here on the Chute Bosses. Don't go anywhere. We'll have much more coming your way. ProRodeo Hall of Fame Spotlight will go through your historic NFR moment of the week. All that coming up on the Chute Bosses.
Farm life means always hoping for the best, but planning for uncertainty. You have to be ready for the next everything. The next dawn, the next season, the next harvest, the next technology, the next challenge, and the next generation. No matter what comes your way, we can help keep you ready for the next.
Welcome back into the Chute Bosses podcast. Tanner and Tracy, and a lot of exciting things coming as we get closer to the month of July. We'll have Cowboy Christmas. We'll talk about who your top money earner is and who really set themselves apart to make a big run here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, last year Ty Harris won more than $40,000 and broke the record. And I would imagine we're going to have, I think last year we had like 20 guys went over 20,000.
Yeah, between rough stock and time division.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm sure there's going to be guys that cash in and do great, and obviously depending on who wins the Calgary Stampede, then you got other rodeos coming.
Rolling, NFR
I mean,
Open,
and then NFR Open, and then we got Sioux Falls, and we got other rodeos out there that pay well. So I mean, it's all out there right now, and this is the time to go.
Yep, pull your seat up to the table and get ready. No, I wasn't telling you, Tracy. I was telling our fans out there. Tracy had a look in his eyes.
Had that? Are you treating me like I'm at the kids' table?
So, Tracy, I know you spent some time in Louisiana. What do you know about the name Steve Duhon?
Well, he's a legendary steer wrestler. I mean, he has the NFR record, 3.0 seconds in 86, I believe, is the second year the NFR was in Vegas, and he's a character. I mean, he's from Louisiana. I know a lot of the Louisiana steer ropers look up, or steer wrestlers. I say ropers because I do too much with steer roping, but the steer wrestlers like Tyler Wagaspack, those guys, he's a legend in Louisiana. He's in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame that includes guys like Terry Bradshaw and Eddie Robinson. I mean, he just got put in there recently, and yeah, I mean, he was just quick. Everything he did when he steer wrestled was, extraordinarily fast, and he was very good at it and won world titles.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and he's rightfully deserving of our ProRodeo Hall of Fame Spotlight. 2003 inductee, and Tracy, I don't know if our fans out there know this, but Steve had the choice. He could go to LSU, Louisiana State, and play football, or he'd become a PRCA steer wrestler. And ultimately, he chose to come to the PRCA and ended up winning 3 world titles. During that time, he won the Rookie of the Year in 1986. And then, just how about Rookie of the Year in 86 and having an NFR record that still stands 1 year later?
3 seconds in steer wrestling in
Jeez.
Thomas and Mack is, I mean, it's like that 6-1 that,
It's only been repeated once, 2001.
Yeah, and Brian Field tied it in 2001, but 3 seconds is flying. I mean, you got to have everything work, and it doesn't surprise me that Duhon did it because, like I said, Duhon was always fast, and he has a record that's going to stay. And I don't know that that it gets broken because to go under 3. I mean, because technically you'd have to go under 3 to set it by yourself, outside tying
That's
it. 3
insane.
seconds is, man, I mean, I know the horsepower is great, but you'd almost have to have smaller steers. I mean, I have to
What's
have
the world record with the barrier? Is it 2.9?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe
it
2.9, but I mean, it's just lightning fast. And the Thomas and Mack
Basically what it is.
is super fast. That arena's fast, but I don't foresee that record being broken anytime soon.
Yeah, that's insane. So there's your ProRodeo Hall of Fame Spotlight with Steve Duhon. And let's go into another historic moment. We'll get Andrew to fire up the old screen here behind us and get ready to rock. Let's go to the 2021 NFR Round 10, none other than Stetson Wright.
He has won $117,000 in the bronc riding. He has won over $519,000 in this year's season, breaking the records, and he's not done. Number 1 in the world by 14.
Is that Cody helping him out there?
Yep.
I think that is, guys. I thought that was Cody. Cody Wright being obviously his ProRodeo Hall of Fame father.
I remember this moment.
This is your
my
first
first
NFR,
NFR, yeah. And we're going to explain to you why it was a historic NFR moment after we see Stetson strap it on Survey Championships Rodeo's Ricky Bobby. My gosh, what a bronc ride. I mean, that's picture perfect. 93 points, Tracy.
Yeah, I mean, that horse was hopping and putting on a show, and Stetson Wright did what he has to do.
That's why I love saddle bronc riding. It's just poetry in motion. Look at this. Like every jump, he's beating into the front end, and it's just a dance.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about the rhythm in saddle bronc riding, and the Wrights are the best at it. I mean, historically, but man,
yeah,
I just can't imagine that feeling that you have once you get in that rhythm with a great horse like that.
Well, let's talk about why it was historic. First, saddle bronc riding world title for Stetson Wright.
Mm-hmm.
Edges his brother Ryder by just over $1,000. Do you remember in the press room that night we were just like, who just won the saddle bronc riding world title?
Right.
And then it dropped down up top from the secretaries, and Stetson didn't think he had a shot to win the world title. I remember him telling us that.
Right.
And somehow he squeezes in.
He had to have like 4 things happen. He had to place higher than
somebody had to
Ryder,
get bucked
and
off
then
or
someone
fall
had
out
to
of the average.
fall out of the average, and all of it came together. And I mean, it's terrible that Ryder didn't win it. He and Ryder are obviously super close, but I mean, he had it all happen, and it just proves what you can do at the NFR if things fall into place, and he wins this world title and with rides like that.
Yeah, Stetson's always that guy that he can go for 90, 95 points. I mean, what he ride chiseled for 94 and a half and that same NFR, right? 2021.
Yeah.
And the bull riding side of things. So
he reminds me of like Joe Montana and guys, even Michael Jordan to a point. Like when everything's down, the chips are down. The Trevor Brazils, like they're the guy that they're going to put that effort out, and that's been the story of his career.
No doubt about it. So we can't wait to see Stetson back in action. Let's go on to our viewer question, Tracy, and this one's going to come from actually somebody right here in our office. I'm looking at him right now, Alex Dodd. So we're working on a story right now on ProRodeo.com about unfortunately an injury that happened to a bullfighter. But the question is what is the bell for on the end of the bull rope? Because a lot of people, you hear a bull rider coming down the hallway because they're dragging their bull rope in there, and you hear the bell banging on the floor. But I guess you could say, back in the day, Tracy, Alex gave me this information, but back in the day, people thought maybe it encouraged the bull to buck. You hear that sound a little bit more, and they knew as soon as it stopped that, hey, we're good, we can calm down. But it's actually for the added weight on the end of that bull rope, so it helps sink off once the cowboy's dismounted or bucked off to let that whole contraption come off, basically.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing it forever, and obviously the story that Alex is working on is an unfortunate incident involving it. But I mean, it's just part of rodeo. It's been part of rodeo. Maybe this is the story that we speak of. Maybe it's something that can be modified a little bit to be a little safer. But yeah, it's part of rodeo. And I honestly, when you're telling me this, I didn't know enough about it. I had a general idea,
I didn't really
but
either.
I mean, it's just a lot of things that we do in the PRCA are part of rodeo, and that's what we roll with. It's been that way since 1950s or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and one guy that looks like he's from the 1950s, that's Buck.
Yeah.
And,
well, Chute Boss Nation gave me a question,
let's hear it.
and
Go
the
ahead.
answer
I know I'm going to hate the answer, but go ahead.
Yes, I used to have a unibrow, but now I have 2 brows.
I just never even know what to say, Tracy, because you're so ridiculous. Maybe you need to go back to one. It's a better look for you.
Yeah, just shave little Brian Bosworth. Just do a little shade in the brow, little chop on the brow.
So why are you so red right now?
I don't know.
You're embarrassed,
It's hot
aren't
in
you?
here.
So what do you think about Buck? What do you think he's up to?
Buck's living the summer dream. He's getting better. He's trying. He's got some different words of the day. I think Buck's going to try to start using some props.
Uh-oh. That sounds like
we're
trouble.
going to go next level with Buck. I don't think we'll drown Buck. That's in the skit, but that's on the docket to possibly try to drown him. But he might shake that off because he's a survivor.
He's been in the river multiple times. Let's go to Buck. He's got your Pro Rodeo word of the day.
I'm Buck, official correspondent of the Chute Bosses, the official podcast of the PRCA. My word for the day is winner. As in, cowboys love to make a great winter run to set themselves up for the summer. When the word winner relates to Buck, you're looking at a winner. Oh, yeah.
Cowboying is in our blood. Cowboying is in our bruises. It's in our rain-soaked jackets. In our calloused hands, tested by barbed wire and rope. Our mud-stained boots to the crown of our resistol hat. You live out west for even the shortest time, and there's one thing you learn. You can't pretend out here. Resistol. We live it every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back into a special episode of the Chute Bosses here in Las Vegas for the 2023 PRCA World Champion Media Day. And now we're going to be joined by one of the youngest world champions here that we have in the field. It's Riley Webb from the Tie Down. Riley, thanks for joining us today, man. It's good to see you out here in Las Vegas. What's it like going through your first media day?
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me. It's totally different seeing Vegas without the NFR going on out here, but makes you, you see the Thomas and Mack with the NFR and said 2024, you want to get back here and get back in there and let it have it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, what now, I guess about 6 months. Has it set in that you're a world champ now and that, you'll forever be enshrined and you finally, you got that accomplishment that a lot of kids dream of growing up, and I'm sure you probably did as well.
Oh, for sure. That's the dream come true. I worked my whole life for that point, but, now you get past that and you're like, all right, It's time to start over. Just because you worked your whole life for one doesn't mean you got to stop now. So, get back to the grindstone and get back grinding and getting back to where have a chance, come this year.
I remember covering you when you were like 17 at the American and you almost won it, and you've been a phenom for a long time. A lot of guys that they say the best that never was. There's guys that were supposed to be great that for whatever reason it didn't work out. How gratifying is it to you that, you were tabbed as the next great roper, and then you followed through with your first world title, obviously, hopefully more to come?
Yes, sir. That was huge, because, there's always naysayers, people that say, one hit wonder or whatever, I don't want that to be the case. And I think since then, people just talking and stuff, it makes you work harder at it. And, thankful that people, say what they say to make you, get out there and work harder and want to prove everybody wrong and to get out there. But, it's been my dream my whole life is to, put 110% into my event and try to be able to do this for, the years to come and have a chance, every December for a chance at a gold buckle.
That's one thing when we look at what you did last season, record-breaking. Record-shattering, you come out, you break Shad's single-season earnings record during the regular season, you break the NFR record, or you break the year-end record. Take me through what all worked for you last year to get to that point, because that's a lot of special things coming together to put together the year like you had.
Dude, it's like a dream come true. Like, when you say, all right, I want to win the world, but like when you start on that quest, it's not like, all right, my goal is I want to break all the earnings records there are, like that's, or for me, it wasn't anyways, like I just want to say, all right, I got this calf, I want to, got to do this to get by him, to get a check, to get on the next one. I just take, one calf at a time to do the best I can to just, stacking checks, not, all right, just let it all hang out for first right here. Try, all right, third pays good, if I don't have the best calf or, so just, stack those checks because come the NFR time, $30,000 go-rounds, people can gain a lot of ground on you fast. So just every check, every calf matters.
Yeah.
Can you talk about every year, and I know you can speak to this, winning the Resistol Rookie of the Year thing's a big deal because you can only win it once. How important was that to you? To check that off your box, and what was the experience like to go to the NFR, and what made you so much better? Because
the first time to the second time.
Haven didn't make anything any easier for you. He kept putting on more pressure and more pressure and more pressure.
For sure. To win the Resistol Rookie of the Year, that's a goal that you want to have too. But I don't know. For me, my goals are bigger than being bigger than the Resistol Rookie of the Year. So I made my NFR the first year. And then I didn't have the finals I wanted at all by any means. But, that kind of made me, go back and, all right, it wasn't how I wanted it to come out, but I still had a great year. I won the, Rookie of the Year. You only get one chance to win that ever, made the NFR my rookie year. Not everybody, gets to do that either. So I was like, take the positive with that, all right, be fortunate and blessed with that, but at the same time, but all right, now it's time to, get back to business and, the calendar flips right back over and get right back to it. And the biggest rodeos of the year start right back off in January. So no matter if the finals goes good or bad, you got to be ready to go right off the bat to get started because the winter time is huge to get your year started.
Tracy kind of mentioned it, but I want to go back and actually talk about this. So the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, Haven Medjid, he came out and roped about as well as he could. You know, he
more
broke,
than well as
he broke the NFR
yeah.
average
Yeah,
record.
for sure.
You know, he won multiple rounds, but you were able to keep focused. You know, it's coming out, it's doing your job. You know, you win that one round, but also you just stayed consistent throughout the entire week. What were you thinking heading into that? And, you know, as we started to wind down and people started telling you, hey, Riley, you're close to capturing the world championship, did that ever creep into the back of your mind as, you know, some nerves or anything, or were you just kind of cool, calm, and collected, man?
No, try to have fun. You know, we do, it's my job, I do it for a living, you know, but at the same time, you got to have fun. But, you know, Haven had a phenomenal year. I mean, it's the best. On record, probably the best two. My year and Haven's year, the same year, never happens.
Yeah,
you know,
between the 1-2.
Yes, never. You know, where it's I broke records and he broke the arena record, the average record, and everything else.
Yeah.
But I mean, just from us two breaking a lot of records and by the same year, that don't happen. But he roped really good. But I knew if I roped my game, even they go tying them fast like they did, just if I just wrote my game on the calf I have and do what I can on each calf that they run in there for me, that I, you know, if I stayed within my game and didn't, you know, get out of it, that I was going to be able to, you know, keep it going my way the whole year. But that's what the same deal. Like you can't let up any, because I had a big lead coming in, but you know, if something happens, miss one, drop out of the average, he would have won it. So you just rope your game, do the best you can on each calf they run in there.
How hard was it, sorry Trace, to not get caught up when they were roping 6-1, 6-4? How hard was it you not to be like, all right, I want a six flat, you know?
Oh, for sure. Well, when you back in there, but I knew that night my calf wasn't a 6-second calf, so I actually misstrung one that night that they tied him fast and made it work, and I was 8 something. But you know, you just got to stay in your game. That's what you tell yourself. Okay, this calf. No one's tying him in 6 seconds.
Do your job.
So just do your job, stay in the average, and if they run you one in there, then you can, you know, capitalize on that.
No doubt.
When you see, and I know records, the gold buckles are more important than round records, and I know Haven went 6-4, and then Shad had a 6-1, the calf gets up. Is there a 5-9 out at the NFR, you think? Is that, I mean, and I know it doesn't matter to you, but how fast could you conceivably think you guys could go?
I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, to go 6-1, 6-4 to 6-1, there's not much difference. I mean, so I mean, on any given night, you know, the top guys in the world with the right calf, the right setup out here, it just depends who gets hot that night and has the right calf. You know, it just depends on that. So I mean,
so you think it's possible?
It's possible. I mean, 6-1 was done. The calf just got up. I mean, I was 6'2" before a couple of years ago at a not PRCA event. So I mean, it's possible to sub 6 second right there at the you know, flirting with it. So I mean, you never know.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. Let's take a look at what you've done so far this season. Obviously, you've had some success during the winter. You know, what's your outlook headed into, you know, an important summer run? Reno coming up, Sisters, Oregon. You know, a lot of good rodeos on the docket here.
Oh, for sure. I think I have 80-something thousand won, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good winner I didn't have a lot of big wins. I won Oakdale and Red Bluff and Lubbock. I think maybe the first one of the year. So not a huge win, but just, you know, placing along there, getting checks. Nothing big like that. You know, the year before Denver and Houston and all that, but just, you know, stacking checks. Try to make the best run I can every time and have a chance in December. You know, you can't really you just got to win all you can when you can. Like, it's just the rounds pay so much and the average out here. It doesn't matter. Anybody that makes the finals got a chance.
Is there someone, and we asked some other guys in other sports, like maybe Tom Brady likes watching Michael Jordan, or guys just appreciate great athletes. Is there people you enjoy watching, even if it's in rodeo or different sports, that you just appreciate how talented they are?
I mean, I like watching. I've got to where I'm a calf roping fan, obviously, but like watching calf roping. But now I'm getting to where I like to watch the other events and, you know, rodeo bull riding and all that. So some of the rodeos we hang out. If we ain't got nowhere to be, we'll stay back there and help the guys pull the bull ropes and stuff. But I like watching all of rodeo. There's so much. I know how much goes into my event to make it work and be successful throughout the year. So I know that guy and that, you know, his event, what he's putting in to make it work. So, you know, just very like, you know, kudos to you for, you know, to that. So like I like watching everybody and, you know, want everybody to succeed because we're all out here chasing the same, you know, same goals. So, you know, I want everybody to do good. Don't want to see nobody fail, but I just know how much goes in it that I put into it, so I know what those guys are putting into it also.
Let's talk a little bit about Shad Money Mayfield, as he likes to call it. Good friend of yours. You know, you guys obviously travel together, push each other to the absolute brim. You know, you break his records last year. He comes out this year and says, I want my record back from Riley. You know, just talk about having guys at the top end of that tie-down roping that are so talented that you guys all push each other because it is so deep right now.
For sure. I mean, the top 25, not even the top 15. You know, everybody can rope. It just matters on, you know, their year, what, you know, what happens for those guys to get in there, or what it is. It just, you know, the 10th place, you come in 10th. Next year, you know, come in whatever it might be like. So it just depends. Everybody ropes so good. Even the younger kids coming up, 16, 17 years old. There's so many young kids that are going to be, you know, coming up here and challenging everybody, you know, here the next couple of years. So I see, I mean, it already is, you know, all our young kids coming in, but I see in the next 5 years, 18, 19-year-old, a lot more of them.
You're still a young kid.
I'm still young, but on that time, you know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, though, but yeah.
A lot of kids that are going to be coming in that are, you know, usually we have, all right, there's 3 or 4 18-year-olds this year that have a chance to make the NFR. Well, next 5 years, I see there might be 10 that have a chance. You know, it's going to be fun watching and tracking it out through the year.
Yeah.
So we're here in Vegas, and obviously the bright lights of Vegas. What's that grand entry like for you? Just the environment, the vibe. What's it like? Can you tell our viewers and listeners what's that feeling like in the Thomas and Mack before round one?
Well, so this year I got to carry the flag, the Texas flag. So that, you know, that when they say here comes Texas, Riley Webb, I got to carry the Texas flag. So, you know, everybody goes nuts. So that was really cool. The first year was really cool, but carrying the flag, that's really cool. You come in, everybody's yelling, and you're waving the Texas flag around as you wrap around there. It's awesome. You know that there's rodeo fans in there when they're going nuts for the grand entry. So that's awesome. It gets the rodeo started off good.
Have you got one of those grand entry horses yet that'll take you for a ride, or do you get to get on some of the horses?
No, I brought my own. I got my backup horse.
You're not
get bucked off.
I get bucked off. Yeah, I brought my backup horse out here and I ride him around.
Some of those horses, man, can
it's
get
dangerous.
after you.
Yeah, it could get dangerous, especially those rough stock guys that borrow horses. That might be the longest 8 seconds of their life, more than the horse.
Riley Webb turns into a saddle bronc rider out there.
I'm good. I bring my own.
Yeah.
So what do you do? I know rodeo is your life. That's what you do. You're great at it. What do you do to walk away from it, so to speak? What do you do in your pseudo free time?
Enjoy your downtime.
We rope every day. We're home basically, you know, but play golf a little bit, you know. And the other day, April in California, we played basketball, you know, for several days at the gym, but golf, we played basketball, man. But we rope every day. I love to rope. That's what we love to do. So it's not a job if you love to do it. So that's how I look at it. You know, get to do what I love to do for a living. That's no better thing in the world.
So are you a ringer for a scramble, or what's your handicap in
No,
golf?
I ain't great. I didn't say I was
He just
good.
goes out there and swings it.
We have fun. I mean, we're getting better, but we're not great by any means.
So, Riley, you know, if we're going to be sitting here in 2025 and we're going to say, you know, Riley Webb's back, 2-time world champion, you know, what's it going to take to accomplish that?
A lot. I mean, you know, to accomplish that one time is a lot goes into it, but then to repeat or to have a chance to repeat or, you know, to be able to do it years to come, I mean, a lot. I got really, you know, three, 4 really good horses right now. 2 of them, you know, the one that got me here to the NFR last year, Boots, and then Rudy, I rode at the NFR, but they're getting better and better, and I feel like I'm getting better, you know, just confidence with them, confidence at the rodeos, you know, getting a feel, because, I mean, it's different when you go to the Texas amateur rodeos and the jackpots down there. Then, all right, you're in the big leagues now, you know, what it takes to have a chance at a gold buckle every day, the pennies, the dollars, you know. So when you're back in there, you just got to, you know, people don't realize, all right, January could have a chance, you know, make up the 10th go-around difference in the average or whatever it might be to win a world title. So, try to back in there and give it all you got every time. But, I'm very blessed with my support system and get to rodeo. I'm rodeoing Dylan Hancock and Cole Clemens this year. Dylan was the rookie last year and Cole's a rookie this year. So hopefully we can get them in here this next year. And my girlfriend Josie Breakaway Roper, she's be rodeoing too. So hopefully we're all out here in Vegas and hopefully we can have fun with it again.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Riley, we appreciate it, man. We know that you're obviously busy to come out here to Vegas for a couple of days, chat with us, and it's good to catch up with you before a busy summer run. So we appreciate it, man.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thanks, Riley.
There it is. Before we let you go, where can people find you on social media if they want to follow what you're doing this summer?
Facebook, Instagram, Riley Webb Rodeo Athlete, and then Riley Webb _ Webb 12. Yep, y'all hit me up.
There we go. Check out his social media, and you can check out the Chute Bosses on our Instagram page, as well as all your favorite podcast platforms and the PRCA YouTube page. That's going to do it for another episode. Until we're back again, keep on rodeoing.
Danger, ruled by passion and pride. To pain and fear is no stranger, but his lust needs to be satisfied. Hooked on an 8-second ride.